Hello, my name is Zach Rye with Old Man Gaming. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another thrilling episode of Astral Drive. I am not alone, however. I have three wonderful players that keep this game as interesting as it has been for 20 plus episodes. Directly above my head, you are seeing Aether Dios playing Gerald Abrego.
Good evening.
Right next to him, our resident Buildmaster General, Philbilly330, playing Nella Stonehand.
What's going on, guys?
And then, last but certainly not least, our partner in all things TTRPG, Wizard's Respite, Ash, playing Alfred Whitecastle.
Howdy, folks.
So, ladies and gentlemen, with that said, we are going to get right back into the action.
I don't know. I'm in a giant room after my entire reality was turned upside down, and there's armed guards outside, and nobody within like 5 miles who could help. I'm just gonna vibe and disassociate, I think.
That's fair. Alright, you vibe and disassociate for a while, you pet your dog. You just kind of sit in a chair, you take a shower, maybe get cleaned up, get some sleep, something. And then, the day goes by, unintruded, unimpeded, just in here, by yourself.
Yeah, terrible. Yeah, between all of that and the comfort received at the end is kind of like, honestly, in a bit of a daze. There's not really anyone to, after that first day, he's gonna probably end up right where he was, just like on the mountain, but just in a hole.
Okay.
Venting to his dog.
Alright, give me resolve and endurance, real quick.
That's a fair point.
Give me a 10. Give me a 10 on the difficulty.
So, I haven't taken resolve yet. 21.
Okay. Take a momentum, sir. You earned it. Okay. You know what? You're right. Normally, Abrego would do that. However, Abrego did spend a long amount of time on the side of a mountain getting that testicular fortitude. And with it, he, something inside of you starts to strengthen, and you almost hear a Mulgrak in your head, you just gonna sit there and die? And basically, you kind of you know that this compound has a library. Maybe you can figure some shit out about your situation. Maybe it's time to get some information instead of just taking his word for it, taking the other people's words for it. Figure out what the fuck is going on. He's definitely feels kind of a warmth, anger of frustration that gives him a determination to not take this shit lying down. At least not without figuring out what this shit is.
Oh boy. Boy. My notes are way too long. So Snee was right about all of this. You weird creatures.
Oh. You still there? I think we lost Abrego.
I lost for a second.
Oh!
Whoa!
He's coming at us from the other side. He's in the astral plane.
Oh God!
I have no idea what just.
Things got real weird. You were talking, and then you went away, and then you were in the nighttime. Is everything alright?
Yeah, is this better? Yeah, everything just kind of went sideways for a second. Nope, sorry.
Discord.
We're back.
The inner turmoil of a Brago.
Yeah, I just had
That's
to
what's
turn everything
happening.
off and back on again. That works.
That's what's happening in his head. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Alright. It's that Ben Affleck meme. Okay.
Oh.
So you.
He's having a rough time, man.
In fairness, all of you are having a rough time. I don't think any of you.
Oh, no, I mean Ben Affleck. I'm doing pretty bad, too.
Are you doing Ben Affleck bad? Is it on a scale of Ben Affleck? How many Ben Afflecks are you doing today?
Oh my god. That's
I'm at like a 0.9, I think. This is rough.
Okay.
Wait, too many deep cuts.
Alright, so.
You're going to, take a deep breath and open the door.
Alright, you open the door. Like I said, you've been in there for a while, so there's two different mercenaries there now. And they kind of see you come out, and one of them kind of like bows at you and goes, "Holy apprentice, is there something we can do to help you?"
Yes, I need to go to the library for my studies. It hasn't moved, has it?
The guy in front of you is he's in a nice outfit. He's definitely kind of like the hired guards, but he's probably more of a believer in Matthias. Like, not a chaplain, but just like, you know, there to serve Matthias as well as make a ton of money. So he's actually kind of well dressed. He's got a couple of guns on his belt, and is a little bit of a younger sort. He looks at you and goes, "Oh, yeah, there's still a library." And then he looks at the other one. The other one's a little bit older, a little bit more scragglier, and he looks like he is more like there to collect a paycheck. And he just kind of looks at him and goes, "I didn't say they couldn't leave the room, just said we had to watch him." And he goes, "Well, if you don't mind, we could definitely go to the library, but we'd like to stay with you, just to make sure you're safe. That is our mission right now."
Yes, I'm sure you have been fairly compensated for this task. As such, I have no further requirements of you.
He nods, and then they just kind of wait for you to start walking.
Yeah.
Right.
I should know where where it is.
Yeah.
Start going and make sure take kind of a long way around. Not very long, just not near the main offices, if at all possible.
Okay. You take the long way around. I also want you to quickly give me actually strategy intelligence.
Strategy?
Yeah, it's a skill. I'm trying to branch out and make everybody regret their choices more. So difficulty's a 10.
Well, since I can't re-roll that, I failed.
Okay. I feel like that was a passive-aggressive shot at the rules change, but
listen, it's the only thing holding me up for a minute there. That was what I can.
Boardment of Brian right there.
Okay, how much did you fail by?
What was the target?
10.
As strategy intelligence?
Yeah.
5.
Oh,
But wait,
goody.
no, it's not contested by 3.
Okay, so I do not gain a momentum then. Remember, I only gain momentum when people fail by 5 or more. Okay, so you just walk around, you keep it long, and you arrive at the library. What are you gonna try and research here?
That's a good question. most of this, I'm going to start going into some of the older histories.
Okay.
So we've got a lot. I mean, most of it's going to be various religious texts, but there should be some other historical books of the early era. Because we don't talk about vampires or demons here, except in broad
Here's what I'm going to do.
terms and scaring children.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a couple of opportunities to look at a couple of different things. But depending on what you're looking for is going to be a different rule. So, do you want to look for vampires? Do you want to look for demons? Do you want to look for something else?
That is actually all,
And you can look for both. I just need to know what you're looking for first.
that's all Gerald has to go on at the moment.
That's fair.
So I'm going to go with, demons.
All right. So for demons, I want you to do a... Need to really quickly look at the intelligence perks again. No, those perks. I mean...
Knowledge?
Yeah, it's probably going to be knowledge, but let me just look through. Yeah, give me knowledge and intelligence, because you are doing some searching. You're reading. This is book smarts.
I actually have a ton of that, but I have something. Well, 12?
Okay. You pass, but you don't get a momentum. Bless you, Nellis. You
Nose magic.
We're in the Matthias part. Like, how much is his Steen worth? I bless you. You owe me a quarter. All right.
It'll be $5, please.
All right, Gerald. You start to look for demons with this knowledge thing. You notice that there is some text about the demons, both in the main books that you find from Genesis, the kind of old school holy texts and stuff like that. You rolled a 12. So yeah, you're not exactly sure what they're being, and the text kind of is very obtuse about it. It's very biblical. Like, it doesn't give you any like necessarily concrete facts. Just, hey, demons are there and they're bad and they come from the other plane and they exist. There's also some references to them just coming from the knowledge that they have gained through the Hearth Collective and, interworking with the other planets in the Hearth system. So there is some baseline knowledge there. Matthias's teachings are very much like, hey, keep up on your bills and the demons won't come for you. And that's where they are. Very, very kind of like bedtime story-y. There is some talk of possession and stuff, which kind of gets into certain things. You rolled a 12. I'm going to give you another roll on demons. I'm going to give you 2 more rolls on demons. The first roll I'm going to give you is a linguistics charisma roll. And then the second roll I'm going to give you is a linguistics charisma. Second roll.
All right, let's test out the range of options on the guy with the fewest skill points.
Hey, there you go. There you go. Hey, I gave you charisma.
I appreciate that.
It's a little up there.
You start giving me like obscure skills with force, we're gonna have problems.
How big is that book? Can you lift it?
I'm really tired by the end of this.
The other one. What? What'd you get?
Wait. 11?
That's enough. Okay, you actually find some weird passages in a very obscure book. The obscure book is much more... It's weird, too, because it says the accounting of demons. So it's this kind of, like, book about, like... It's almost like about demons, but written as, like, an account ledger, almost. Like this is how demons take your soul, and this is how much you can deal with demons before they take your soul. Stuff like that.
This is great.
Yes,
yes. I want that book.
It starts to kind of speak to you in a way, and you start to get this kind of like weird feeling. But one of the passages in that book that is so specific is that it specifically states when the demons started, and the demons definitely started when they came to Genesis. Like Genesis is when they met demons, and there are references to demons before the Hearth Collective ever got formed. So like they went through their portal, the Pilgrims went through the portal, came to Genesis. That's when some of them became possessed by demons. It also points out that like none of the natural born Genosians have ever had any sort of demonic possession or like demon born or anything like that. They are free of it. And you're not exactly sure why, but there are just like, but the reason you get this information is like an accounting log for all demon possessions, basically. And that's where you're like, oh, you kind of do like some spreadsheet math on it, and you're like, oh, okay, so if this is this, and this is this, if X was Y and X is B, this is when they started, and this is where what they affect.
Being an accountant is cool.
I may not have weapons, but I have pivot tables.
Alright. You get that information, then we switch off. Nullus. You are headed downstairs, right? Am I right about that?
Indeed.
Yes. The minute Isabel sees you, she runs over, she hugs you, gives you a kiss. She's like, oh, you had me so worried. What was that? Your nose just started bleeding. You passed out mid-sentence. You would have given yourself a concussion if your dad hadn't caught you. And he goes, I didn't much catch you. You fell on me and then I fell down, but I broke your fall. You okay, kid? And then he kind of comes over and like grabs you on the shoulder.
Yeah. I need to know everything that you can tell me.
He looks at you. Everything, huh? I figured this was coming. He looks at Isabel, and Isabel's like, don't you even think about asking me to leave the room. And he's like, no, I wouldn't do that. You guys sit down. I'll pour us all another pot of coffee. He gets you some coffee, sits down. Santacano like strolls through the room and then goes outside and starts meditating or doing whatever he does. And he sits down and he goes, all right. Holy shit. What was the mage that worked with you in episode 1's name? The one that went back to his home.
The mage?
Yeah, the one from the archipelago. Thaddeus Ketch. Thank you. Like, I was just about to start the story with his name, and I was about to say Artemis, and I was like, Artemis is not right. I know it's not right. This will be wrong. He looks at you and goes, Thaddeus and I were friends. I know you know I was never in the Hearth Collective or nothing like that, but Thaddeus came here on one of their merchant missions, and selling stuff, and we ended up meeting. It was long before I owned the farm. We ended up getting into, one hell of a scrap. Back then, I was a ranger. I was just doing jobs, guide stuff, taking them out into the wilderness, hunting, searching for resources. Anytime somebody needed to go out where there wasn't civilization, you know how dangerous Genesis is, I'd take them out that way. His people needed me. We went out there and we got we got hit by some Razorbacks. And you hear Pickle kind of look at you, and he goes, "Arr!" He goes, "Yeah, Pickle, Razorbacks. Not all of you is nice. But I'm not talking just like a normal not just a normal pack of Razorbacks. It was mating season. Kicked off a little bit early, if you know what I mean. And basically, you get an idea of it. Just actually, you know what? Let's give you some rolls. Animal intelligence. 3?
No, I was reading.
Oh, okay.
I roll an 18. That's a 21.
Well, take a momentum, and fuck you. But you immediately know what he's talking about. Razorbacks, they work in packs of specific genders, and they only mate once per season, and it's basically like a giant dinosaur orgy. So like the male packs and the female packs will stay completely away from each other until this specific like few weeks, a year, and then they all get together, have a weird dinosaur fuckfest, make a bunch of eggs, and then go their separate ways. They're not as animals, they're not like what's the word, like family oriented animals. They're just like seed the eggs and then they move on, basically. Then the female packs have their own way of caring for the babies, and if they come out male, they find male packs, basically. So they're very kind of like gender segregated animal. However, the problem with this is because of these, you know, giant mating season things, it becomes like they all become extremely territorial, extremely ferocious, and there's tons of them. So basically some stupid people on that. So then he continues. He's like, so anyway, a few of our people, you know, we stumbled onto it. Middle of the night. I didn't think mating season was supposed to start for another 3 days. I knew we were cutting it close, but sure enough, where we were headed, bam, we run into just a horde of them. They were pissed. Just turned into a bloodbath. Me and Thaddeus got out alive barely. We saved each other's asses a few times. After that, every time he'd come back with a merchant mission, you know, we got to talking. We were friends. We tell each other war stories. Fast forward a little bit later. He has a problem, right? He comes to me, tells me that there's a kid, stressed out kid, or kid, you, who is having problems on his own planet. Part of this terrorist barbarian organization goes through the whole thing, right? Well,
Yeah.
he tells me the whole thing and tells me that he's working with the Axiom people to get you off world because your life is in danger. At that point, we work out a deal. He needs a place to hide him. Nobody's gonna look for an orc baby on Genesis. And honestly, I was ready to settle down. I was done with the ranger life. I didn't know if I could be a good dad or not, but I agreed to watch you, basically for just a week. But, you know, my fee was a place to settle down, enough money to settle down. I had saved enough to get some livestock, but not land. You know how expensive it is when it's in civilized areas. So they paid for this ranch, gave me the startup capital to buy it. I purchased the livestock, and then you showed up. You had amnesia. They didn't quite explain that to me, but they said that whenever they found a better place for you, it wouldn't matter. Like, you wouldn't remember again. But honestly, Nellis, I hate to say it, boy, but I fell in love with you. After 2 weeks, you were like my kid. You know, Thaddeus kept coming back, but I kept telling him, let's hold off, let's wait. Weeks turned into months, and then, you know, you were just my kid, helping me on the ranch, being my boy. As far as what's behind you, I did get around to asking him. He told me that you were the son of some weird barbarian clan. And basically the heir apparent for this potential war to come. And that they were trying to get you out of that situation. I told him it couldn't be just that. I mean, you don't go to a whole nother planet to hide somebody just because they're part of some barbarian terrorist clan. And that's when he told me, you got the demon born in you. I asked him what it was. Didn't quite make much sense of it. I've never been one for that kind of otherworldly stuff. But he just told me that there's a demon inside of you, and the more you use magic, the more the demon wakes up. That they're not exactly sure much about it, but that the demon inside of you is an extremely powerful demon. And that if you stayed on Axiom, you would be a danger to everybody there. I didn't quite believe that. It sounded like, mystical gobbledygook to me. But, then I saw your nose bleed and you do magic stuff every so often, and I guess maybe there was some words to it, but that is everything I know about the situation, Nellis. And you know what? I should have told you sooner, but honestly, after the first time your nose bled and you did magic, all I could keep hearing was Thaddeus' voice in my head. The more he does, the more demon comes out. So all I wanted you to do was not do magic. So I didn't want to tell you any of that stuff, because the more stuff you knew, the more it would come out. It's just this terrible catch-22 bullshit where, like, you're keeping the one thing from your kid that they want to know, but you're doing it so that they don't, become some sort of rage demon. So, I'm sorry, kid. I hope you can forgive me.
I do.
He gets up and he gives you a big old hug. You can tell this has been weighing on him a long time.
Obviously, I hug him back.
I shoot him. I shoot him in the head. Double tap, motherfuckers. Okay.
Thaddeus contact you at all after the mission I went on?
No, I didn't hear nothing until you showed up.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a falling out, and
Look,
he quit.
he quit the Hearth Collective?
From my understanding.
You see straight up Job, right? Yeah, Job.
Yeah.
You see straight up Job is like shocked by that. Probably more shocked than even you were. And he's just like, man, Thaddeus would just never quit. I can't believe he quit. But look, me and Thaddeus were real tight. I thought he was a good guy. A little pretentious the way he talked, but just a good head on his shoulders. We've always been friends, and we've saved each other's asses more times than I can count. But at the end of the day, he loved the Hearth Collective. He loved being out in space and protecting people. But he got real attached to you. There was something about that whole thing. He was real attached to you. I remember when you decided to sign up for the Hearth Collective. He hadn't showed up here in forever. All of a sudden I get a message. You remember that one Saturday I went to the bar and I was just gone for like a night? I think it was about a week or two before you left. I don't know if you remember back that far, but it was because Thaddeus sent me this secret note and told me to meet him. Dude punched me square in the face. He was so pissed that I had let you join. I was like, how am I supposed to stop him? He's a determined orc kid who can shoot the fucking dick off a mosquito at 200 yards. What am I going to do? We drank. We had it out. We drank, and, we got better. And he just said he'd promise to guide you through the whole process and that he'd swear to protect you and try and, keep the demon thing away from you. But he had a weird attachment to you, too.
Yeah, he didn't want me to learn.
I think that's what it just boils down to. Nobody wanted you to learn because, as far as we know, the more you learn, the worse it gets. I mean, if I had any inkling or anybody had told me that you'd be able to control it as well as you had, I would have handled things way differently. But we all thought we were protecting you.
I'll be honest, it's something I need to figure out so I can put this to bed. It's the only reason I gotta go back. And of course, try to get Santacano off planet.
He looks at Isabel and he goes, "Look, I'm not going to say any more details. He knows everything I know, but can I have a moment?" Isabel kind of looks at you and then looks back at him and then looks at you like, are you okay if I leave, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll be out in a minute.
And then she kind of walks out. Pickles kind of looks between the two of you and then kind of shrugs and then follows Isabel.
Yeah, I might go on.
He looks at you and he goes, "Listen, boy, I always lived adventurous when I was a kid. Because of it, I never got to settle down, never get to find my love. I mean, you are the closest thing to family I have. You're on the edge of something, and I have no way of helping you. I'm so far out of the depth of whatever you're dealing with, it makes me feel powerless. As your father, as somebody who's supposed to be protecting you. But I'm going to give you just a little bit of advice. And that is, you got a real chance. You got a good woman out there who loves you. You got something to come back to. And you know this is yours just as much as it is mine. So whatever you do out there, just do everything in your power to come back to us. All right? Because I didn't even know I wanted a son, and now I'm real afraid I'm going to lose him."
Nah, I'll be back. You can't get rid of me that easy.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. All right, we're gonna switch off to Alfred. It's been all hardcore role playing for Nellis for 2 sessions, man.
Yeah.
Nellis is like, "Please let me shoot something. Can anything be shot?" Just an ambush.
Maybe the dick off of a mosquito.
Oh man. Okay, Alfred. You follow him out. He kind of walk into basically what's a smaller kind of port city, probably outside of the larger Matthias area. Once you get outside of the outside of the abandoned tavern, which is very clearly like once you get outside, there are signs all over it that says "condemned by the order of the High Father Matthias." And when you see it, Croak's just like, "Ah! It's been condemned forever. He's got that stupid secret tunnel in there." And you've got a lot of questions, like how this very old ship owner knows about the secret tunnel. But nonetheless, he shuts the... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
How does he... Yeah, I have a lot of questions for him. But I need to get them organized a little bit.
But this is kind of like a suburb, like a suburb of a big city, basically. Like you could see Matthias in the distance, kind of the buildings, the main city of it.
Right.
You would wager you've traveled about 3/4 of a mile outside of the main city. Like that's how long that tunnel was, which is long. Like you were in there for a while. And you're like, it's mid-morning at this point, I would say. Yeah, he kind of wait, you guys went there in the morning? No, I would say it's, yeah, it's gonna be mid-morning, just to get everybody synced up. But there is like some spaceports off to the side, kind of like a port off to the side, and he just kind of keeps on hobbling towards it. In silence. There are some people walking around. It's nowhere near as busy as the main city where you guys landed was. just a few people walking on the street here and there, you know. Average suburb kind of feel to it. Dirt roads instead of paved. We're back to that sort of thing. Like Tombstone, basically. Yeah, you guys start to walk down the street.
I'll ask him, how far is your ship from here?
It's a couple blocks up. That's not the question you need to be asking, though. Do you know where we're going?
I have the envelope of the details, right?
Yeah.
I have the coordinates, yes.
Can I see them?
When we reach your ship, maybe not out here.
All right, fancy pants, you keep your little secrets to yourself. It just keeps on shuffling. You do have the coordinates, and you have a little bit of knowledge of what you're getting into, but I don't think you've ever personally dealt with the Pale or the Scalara disease or any of that yet.
Yeah, so I would ask him, like, to a certain degree. Have you ever encountered the Scalara, the Pale?
He goes, yeah. Basically a suicide run, what you guys are trying to do.
Well, that's very encouraging. Thank you. Tell me, honestly, have you ever done anything like this before?
Yeah, I have. I've done the hardest, scariest ass jumps all my life. That's what I do. But you're going into a hive, kid.
What can you tell me about your observations of this hive? Specifically, I'm assuming you have not been in one yourself, but have you ever needed to escape from one? How effective are they at flying their ships, chasing you?
He stops and he goes, damn, you ain't never dealt with him before, have you? Alright, look, the Pales, they just kind of stand around. As long as you don't touch them or you don't make any hostile actions, you're fine. But you set one off, you set them all off. And every Pale has all the information of whoever they were to begin with. That means if they could shoot guns, they could shoot guns. If they could fly, they could fly. If they could stab you, they could stab you. Hell, if they could shoot the dick off a mosquito at 200 yards, they could shoot the dick off a mosquito at 200 yards. That's how they work.
It's a very specific metaphor you use, but it paints quite a picture. Yes, thank you.
I've been on runs. See, he kind of puts his hands up. He goes, they're dangerous, but they're real good about scavenging. Because with the Pale, when they go Pale, they don't sell anything or do anything. They just fly off to the nearest Pales. And then they just link their ships up and then just stand around together. Weird shit, man. But I tell you what, they don't do anything to their ships. They just link them up and stand around. So if you can get in, it's a plethora of scrap, plethora of good parts, plethora of salvage. Hell, one time when I did one of these runs, it was a whole cargo ship, untouched cargo. We couldn't even take it all with us because we didn't have enough room on our ship. Fact is, though, they don't care. But I was on one run once. We were on a pretty big one. One of the guys decided to play a little prank on the Wanderers. Just tapped him on the shoulder. It was the worst firefight I've ever been in. And them Pales, they all think with one mind once they start going. It is a hell of a fight. I was the only one that survived. That's because I left him behind. And he looks right at you and he goes, I'll do the same to you. You fuck up.
Fucking up is not what I do.
And he goes, oh, okay. Like nothing impresses this leather-faced old man at all. It's like, okay, fucking up ain't what you do, that's fine. You know what I don't do? Die for youngins.
Fair enough.
There's a reason I had a chance to get this old and be this ugly. Ain't charity.
All right. I have the coordinates for the ship, and I have a better idea of what we're going into, so I appreciate that. Are you a pilot? And I sort of look down at his missing arm.
He's like, oh, you think this stops me?
What was that?
You think this stops me? He actually gets in your face now. And starts poking you in the chest with his good finger, and he's like, you listen to me, Sonny Jim. I've been flying ships with my asshole before you were in diapers. I'll tell you that, and I'll tell you it twice. You don't worry about me or my fucking ship. You worry about yourself, Alf, and crew.
Fair enough. I sort of like back up a little bit to placate this old guy.
He's like, rule number 1 of Croak's ship. You don't question whether he can fight, fuck, or fly. Because he can do all 3. Just damn fine. And he just turns and starts walking again.
Fight, fuck, or fly. I'll keep that in mind.
Everybody meet my new favorite NPC.
Yeah. Alright. I have my people that will be aiding me in this particular mission. I need to get a hold of them as quickly as possible, and I need to bring them here as quickly as possible. Seem like... What's that?
He said, all right. I don't want to do it again because his voice is actually murdering me.
You seem like you know your way around this, you seem like you know your way around pretty much everywhere, so I have a question for you. Somebody came with us on this ship that might be useful on this mission, but they were from off-world. They'd stand out a bit. Where would somebody like that wander to? Any mercenary drinking holes or anything like that?
He looks at you a long time. He goes, you're on Genesis! Every motherfucker on this planet is a mercenary!
Somebody from off-world. Somebody that would not necessarily fit in with the rest of the inhabitants of this planet.
Oh, there's a rancher. Not too far from not here. Got an orc kid.
Well, that's a very good start.
Yeah, he's a fucking asshole. He beat me in a poker game once. Not the kid. The dad. I don't know the kid.
You said that's not too far from here?
Not too far from here.
Alright. That was one of my acquaintances. I would definitely be interested in finding my way to his location, or perhaps getting him our direction, someplace for us to rendezvous.
He points. Takes with his good hand, and he points across the street to a guy with a truck, just kind of standing there. He's like, right there! Those sons of bitches, you can hire them. They drive you out to the ranches. That's how they make their living. Hillbilly taxi. You go talk to him. He then turns around and points. My ship's up there. I ain't walking for you. So you find your people, you come find me. Comprende?
Will you be at your ship?
I mean, I ain't gonna promise that, but he pulls out a communicator. He gives you kind of like the number for it, and basically says, if I ain't there, I'm doing one of the other two things. So just give it a call.
I will be sure to do that during appropriate hours to ensure I know which one of the other things you are doing.
And we switch back to Abrego. Abrego! So, you've gotten this information about demons, kind of like the history of demons on Genesis, history of demons, and what's going on here. The vampire...
And they're going rates.
And they're going rates, yes. And the vampires. The vampires are a little bit harder to find, so I actually want you to do art/intelligence. No, wait, no. Let's start with knowledge intelligence, and then I'll give you a branching difficulty if you pass that one.
You're gonna get Anne Rice or Twilight or where?
That's like he could be a vampire. He didn't sparkle at all. That's ridiculous. They were lying to me. That's 23.
Wow, take a momentum. You are on a roll today. Apparently,
I'm ending on a roll.
apparently,
If I'd started on a roll, it would have been okay.
apparently, research is Gerald Abrego's sweet spot. All right.
Yeah, when you're not giving me combat with books and some numbers, it's all right.
Don't worry, the combat's coming. The combat is
Oh,
coming.
thanks.
All right. I don't know how much combat is actually coming for you. You might have a more cerebral game from here on out, but at least for season 2.
Sure.
Sure. All right, so vampires. So you got a 20. That's a really good roll. Immediately, you're like, okay, you know enough about vampires to know that they don't exist on Genesis, at least not in a natural form. So the church isn't going to have any bullshit about vampires in it. So you immediately start kind of going through everything to try and find kind of a more
But the pilgrims came here away from the vampires, so there should be something early.
That is true. That is true. Man,
It's just, the pilgrims came, and now they're all special. We don't talk about that thing that was going on before.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. You have
Some
to,
of them might.
you have to go into some deep history, some straight deep history to get to this, like old world shit. Because once they got here, it was like, we evaded the vampires. They're our past. We don't need to worry about them anymore. So, like, and then by the time the Hearth Collective started, they were all dead, according to, the archipelago. So, you have to go into some deep old world history stuff. So at this point, give me, I want you to give me an art/charisma roll for starters.
I'm going to spend one of those momentums. Because I don't have art. Yeah, so that makes a 23.
23. Okay. That's really good. Gain another momentum.
Cool, because I have failed my gated momentum back rolls twice today. That's wonderful.
Well, you're getting them pretty good. Okay. So the art stuff, you kind of go through some books and some old school art, some old school stuff, and you're able to kind of like infer something from vampires. You get the idea that the vampire race, kind of how they started with the kind of subplanet on the archipelago that was lower. You also find out that they're extremely allergic to sunlight, which is very confusing to you because you've been with Alfred Whitecastle in the sun. So that's very confusing. You also see that they live by basically absorbing by basically renewing their genetic code by absorbing other creatures' genetic codes through their blood. That's why they drink blood. Like, period.
Lost in sun, but he did bite me.
He did bite you. He did absorb your blood, without a doubt. You also find out some more interesting stuff. That the vampires, like all the history stuff about them, like turning humans into like whatever, cattle basically, and all sorts of stuff of them just using their shit for not good purposes. But that's when you are in a dark back corner of this library, and you find a book that has another book inside it. You kind of, because you rolled so good, you find one of these like super old history books. You see that the actual jacket of the book is really big. And then after you kind of play with it for a second, you see that there's a catch, and then there's a smaller little book inside. And that one, I'm going to need a linguistics roll. Linguistics charisma, and you're going to have to give me a 15 on that one. So you might want to spend a momentum for advantage. Just saying.
Yep, I rolled anyway, and linguistics charisma is going to be 23. I'm hitting 18s over and over again.
Jesus Christ, good way to be. Okay, it takes you a second to translate this dialect, but because it is a very ancient dialect. Like at this point, you're talking pre the migration. You're talking pre-migration archipelago shit, like old school vampiric dialect, basically. However, that's when you realize exactly what this book is. And just the knowledge of what it is, almost feel like hot to the touch. Like you drop it when you realize what it is. It is the diary of a vampire. This vampire's name is, I gotta find it in my notes here. Halson.
Oh, we're waiting.
Halson Craven. And Count Halson Craven, this diary, you read a couple pages in and you realize that Halson Craven is actually the person behind them transporting themselves to Genesis. He was the one who gave the shepherds the ability, the technology to teleport the human cattle to Genesis. And at this point, I need you to give me an endurance resolve roll before we... I want to do one more small scene, but...
I'm going to burn a momentum on this.
Okay.
And depending on the results of that, I'm going to stealthily palm this into my coat.
Oh, okay. All right. What was your endurance roll, though? Because difficulty is 15 for it.
And it's endurance. Oh, I don't know.
I'm actually. Wait a second.
Is it endurance conditioning?
No, it's endurance resolve.
Oh. Well, I get more XP, I will buy resolve. Is it contested?
It is not contested. It is a difficulty
21.
of 15. What?
21.
All right. You managed to hold it together, but this, like, other than the fact that your friend turned out to be a vampire and your father figure turned out to be kind of a demon, you are now holding a diary that potentially invalidates all of your beliefs, your religious beliefs. like the shepherds had help from a vampire. That's how they went through the portal. Like, this crushes you, okay? This is like the foundations of your belief from childhood is like shaken and rocked here. And you're only like 5 pages in. You don't know the rest of it. You just know that basically the first couple of pages he covers, I am writing this diary because I need a record of what I am about to do, because I am about to betray my people of the highest order, and I want people to know why. So, like, yeah. So, this is huge. This is huge for you. We are going to switch off one more time to Nellis. Nellis,
I'm stealing this thing, by the way.
You don't have to roll. There's nobody there. You're kind of in the library. The other two guys are just sitting in the library. So,
if they ask me or come anywhere near me, I will start reading the most boring things out of the book that I have until they go away. All right, let's go.
All right, Nellis. You guys have talked basically through to kind of like the sunlight is kind of dawning over the morning, right? Well, no, you go through morning a little bit. Do you say or do anything with Elizabeth? Isabel? Ugh.
Do I say or do anything with her? I mean, I would. She was in the room for the conversation with Job, right?
Yeah, she only left towards the end.
Okay. In that case, oh yeah. So I walk outside to talk to her, and like, her name's Isabel, by the way.
Yeah,
but,
I said the wrong name first. I corrected myself the second time, but
oh, okay. Like, listen, Belle. Looks like, unfortunately, this is gonna be see you later for a while again. But, you know I'll be back. Can you hold it together?
you're worried for a second because like you didn't really want to say goodbye to her so fast, so soon. But she just kind of looks up at you. She smiles. She stands up. She walks over to you. She gives you a big Hollywood kiss on the lips. And then she rears back and just looks you in the eyes and goes, "You come back to me."
You know I will.
And then she looks down at Pickles. Pickles gives her a Hollywood kiss on the face. And then she goes, "You make sure he does." And then she walks inside. As she's walking inside, Santacano kind of walks over and goes, "Were you expecting company?" And then he points, and we see the truck with Alfred in the passenger side driving up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was another episode of Astral Drive. Things are heating up. I hope you guys are enjoying it. Of course, though, as this is the internet and we are but humble content creators, we need to be allowed to try to plug things to you. So, of course, Gerald Abrego played by Aether Dios. What would you like to plug, sir?
On this channel, there is ID, a Doctor Who adventure that you should all go and watch, and also keep watching more of this. Like and subscribe.
See, this is what I do. You didn't have things to plug when we started this, and now I've forced things to plug up on you. This is what I do. Philbin 330, Buildmaster General, Nellis Stoneham. What would you like to plug, sir?
Check out TMNT and Other Strangeness. I believe we're doing a live one on the 5th.
Yes.
So coming up shortly, a couple weeks. And other than that, I don't have a whole lot going on myself as far as content. So yeah, make sure you watch what's your guys' podcast, Wizards Emporium or some
Sanctorum.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Make sure you watch your pretentious bullshit. I will say this: I do have some stuff planned to force more content upon Aether Dios and Fibula 330. So everybody keep their eyes out that when we get closer to it. Alfred Whitecastle, played by Wizards Respite Ash. What would you like to plug, sir?
As always, wizardsrespite.com is a website where all of these episodes can be seen. Also, articles diving deep into TTRPG as an industry, as a hobby. We also have t-shirts on there, as well as, of course, Ordo Scriptorum, another setting and expansion to the single mod game, built off of the game that we're playing here, diving deep into the more of a gothic horror genre, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, definitely check that out as well.
Yes, you can also check out, if I may just roll right into my plugs, you may also check out the Ordo Scriptorium first playthrough, where we play tested the original game with 3 other people, Corey, a tiny wizard, and a small mage. So check those out. It's a 6-episode series. I think the 6th one is probably finishing up this week, the week that the week that the first one of these is going up. So please, it'll be up. Check it out, either on Spotify or YouTube. We also have a lot of TTRPG content all over the place. All the wonderful things that Wizard said, please check those out as well. And we also do video games on this channel as well, too. How many times can I say as well? You guys can also reach us on Facebook at OldManGamingDH, on X at OldManGaming9. You can join our Discord. The link's in the description below. Influence us in all of our shows from there. As long as you guys keep watching and listening, we will keep making it. Go to wizardsrespite.com for all the fun TTRPG stuff. We will see you guys next time.
The moon.